Just refusing posters, rural and remote areas. Also coming up tonight, father of the stolen baby tells TV3 he is relieved to have his baby back. Meanwhile, the alleged baby thief is refused bail tonight. The full court rundown. Also tonight, Ghana takes its eastern neighbor to international arbitration over maritime boundary dispute between Ghana and Togo. Tonight, Ghana says despite this latest move, relations between the two countries remain cordial. Those are the top stories, and this is Ghana Tonight. I'm Kemini Amano. We are streaming live on Facebook.com, X.com, YouTube, and 3news.com. If you'd like to be a part of the program, remember to use the hashtag Ghana Tonight. And this is TV3. You may also be listening to us on 392.7 FM. Let's bring you Ghana Brief.
Majority Leader Mahama Ayerga has stated that government will not yield to pressure to appoint more ministers, following concerns by the minority that some ministers barely appear before the House to answer questions. Meanwhile, the president is expected to present his second State of the Nation address next week Friday to provide overview of the country and progress made in the year under review.
Excellency, the President of the Republic is scheduled to deliver a message on the state of the nation on Friday, 27 February 2026. In line with the convention of the House, honorable members are urged to be punctual and seated in the chamber by 9:15 a.m. as it is inappropriate for members to enter or exit the chamber after His Excellency the President has entered the House to deliver his address.
The Gender-Based Violence Circuit Court in Accra has remanded 33-year-old trader Latifa Salifu into police custody for allegedly stealing a newborn baby from Mamprobi Polyclinic. Her plea was not taken as police say investigations are still ongoing. Defense counsel Dr. Hanutu Mohammed applied for bail, stating that the accused has a fixed residence, cares for two young children aged 7 and 10, and has cooperated with investigators. However, Chief Inspector Eje Opoku, leading the prosecution, opposed the application, arguing that the offense was carried out by a syndicate and that the accused must remain in custody to assist with investigations. Meanwhile, the Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, has assured the public and the victims of the recent baby theft incident of the government's commitment to preventing such crimes. He gave the assurance after visiting the mother and child at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. But the victim's family insists that justice must be served to deter others.
The most important thing is the child, and we have gotten it. But just that we are having... Maybe this is my first time meeting the minister and gender minister. Yes, they have done their parts as they are still supporting. So we are grateful to that. You know, we just need to, the law needs to work so that this thing may end, you understand? So because I've been hearing this not the first time. This is my first time seeing something like that, you understand? So we just need to make the law strong so that it works as we all expect.
The Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference has called for urgent government action to address challenges in Ghana's cocoa sector, citing delayed payments to farmers, reduced producer prices, and rising debt. The bishops warned that illegal mining, climate stress, and growing competition from Ecuador, Nigeria, and Cameroon are threatening the industry and urged payment of arrears, reforms at the Ghana Cocoa Board, stable prices, and greater youth involvement in cocoa farming. Tomato traders in Kofrido are calling on the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to enforce stricter measures to improve the quality and yield of locally grown tomatoes. The traders say boosting domestic production would reduce the need for women to travel to neighboring Burkina Faso to purchase tomatoes, particularly at a time of ongoing security unrest in parts of the country.
It is terrifying traveling to Burkina, but that is our livelihood. The prudent government to help improve tomato farming in our country.
The Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment has called on the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOGSAG, to withdraw its decision to embark on a strike action and meet with government on implementation of the new salary structure. He says government is ready to engage the leadership of CLOGSAG to finalize and implement the new salary structure and conditions of service.
I do respect their leadership and themselves and their individuals because at every point in time, we talk, and where we move, they also move. And I want to assure them to withdraw their decision to go on strike on the 9th if nothing has happened. Government is not a one-day affair. It's often a process. And that we've gotten to a certain stage when we can do as much as they would wish. And I will urge them to rather open up and talk to us.
Well, Ghana Brief there for you. Thank you so much for your time here on Ghana Tonight. Let's get into some real action now. And you should know that baby thief story has grown a lot of legs over the last few days. We'll take some of those legs right now. Well, now let's bring you the story around to that because Ghana's health minister paid a visit to the parents who were recently reunited with their missing baby. Their 4-day-old baby went missing from the hospital under very bizarre circumstances and sparked wide outrage across the country. Tonight, the health minister, Kwabena Mintah Kando, gives an update on investigations so far. Let's take a listen.
He can confirm that it's the same baby. And so the baby is receiving treatment at the moment, and we are monitoring the event. Meanwhile, the Ministry for that, but the Ghana Health Service is investigating. The police, the criminal aspect is also being investigated. So very soon, when all investigations are concluded, we will implement recommendations from the investigation.
Now, the minister is also assuring of government's commitment to ensure this does not happen again.
What is very important is the measures we have put in place and we are putting in place to prevent the reoccurrence of this nature of incidents. If incidents of this nature happens, they lead to major reforms. And so we have issued clear instructions and clear directives that no health professional should be seen on duty without being duly identified, wearing your name tag to identify you. It's a sin at this point in time. So those who are not enforcing that particular directive, if anything happens, we will, deal with you.
Well, tonight, the family maintains justice must be delivered to serve as deterrence for others.
The most important thing is the child, and we have gotten it. But just that we are having, this is my first time meeting the minister and gender minister. Yes, they have done their parts as they are still supporting. So we are grateful to that. We just need to, the law needs to work so that this thing may end, you understand? So because I've been hearing this is not the first time. This is my first time seeing something like that, you understand? So we just need to make the law strong so that it works as we all expect.
A few things to note tonight. We also know the suspect was denied bail in court today, despite Latifa Salifu's plea to the court that she has 2 young children, ages 7 and 10, and had cooperated with the police. The court decided that she should stay behind bars for another 14 days. Now, prosecution is now hinting the crime was not engineered by Latifa alone, but by a baby stealing syndicate. No other details has been given so far. Obviously, the investigation is being put together. But right now, Latifa is in police custody. The woman you see on your screen accused of stealing the baby, February 16th of this year. She will return to court on March 4th. That is when a plea will most likely be taken. We also know tonight that the police has released a statement on the back of this. I'll share a bit of it with you. The Mamprobi District Police Command wishes to update the general public on the earlier press release on the rescue of the stolen newborn baby and the arrest of the accused person, Latifa Salifu. The accused person was arraigned before the court Friday, 20th February 2026, which is today, right? And that police statement goes on to say that she's been remanded into their custody. She'll reappear on the 4th of March 2026 to assist with ongoing investigations. The Accra Regional Police Command, meanwhile, continues to provide 24-hour security to the staff and management of the Mamprobi Polyclinic and its environs. The command is also assuring the general public of its continued commitment to ensure the safety and protection of all persons, especially the vulnerable groups in this country, so to speak. So that's the statement coming from the police, reiterating what happened in court today, and then also reassuring the general public to remain calm as they investigate the incident. We know that visit the health minister paid to the family was at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, which is where both mother and child are being observed after the newborn baby was returned to them. So that's by way of updates on the story. We'll stay in the health sector because tonight the health minister has sent a very strong warning to doctors. Let's look at that now. Now, the health minister is warning doctors who are refusing to go to work in rural and remote areas could lose their salaries. No work, no pay. Now, Kwabna Minta Akando says the doctors have up to the end of this month, this February of 2026, to go to their postings in those rural areas. Now, according to the minister, this is part of broader efforts to address inequities in our healthcare delivery system across the country. Take a listen.
Those who were posted like 2 years ago obviously are working at their various places. But since I took office as a minister, we insisted that we were sending these 700 people to the districts. And so we gave them some timelines, we gave them the opportunity to support opportunities. I have followed up to the regions, we have appealed to the DCEs, regional directors, chiefs, ministers, to be able to give them a befitting accommodation, some allowances. Some regions are doing it. So we think that you cannot be receiving salaries whilst you've not reported. If there's a genuine concern, why not? But so far, I have not seen any genuine concern. Any part of this country is a country, so it's part of Ghana. And so we think that the people must go to wherever they are needed most. And so by the end of February, if you have not reported, we'll take your name out of the payroll, and then the vacancies left, we'll still advertise the vacancies, and we'll look at the next batch. Those who are willing and ready to go to those areas, we'll let them go and fill those capacities. So we're not going to compromise on that one at all. Unfortunately, sorry, we can't do anything about it.
Well, as I've said before, this is the health minister's or the ministry's strongest indication yet to health workers, but particularly doctors, when it comes to postings in rural and remote areas. Remember that this issue is not starting now. And what we have picked up industry-wide is that this announcement is only to the public. But the health minister has already told the health workers, particularly the doctors, about this deadline of end of February, which is only about, what, 1 more week? And then, February comes to a close. So these doctors who have not gone to their postings now have about 1 more week to do so, or they will be removed from the payroll of the largest employer in this country. Now, I'm going to bring in now former Deputy Labour Minister and CEO of Game and Game, Austin Game. Now, I know some of you have been sharing your comments with us on social media. I'll take some of those, but let's start off with Mr. Game. Mr. Game, like as I've laid out the preamble, this is not the first time it's happening in terms of the ministry asking the doctors to go to their postings, the doctors then coming in and telling us that, look, incentivize us to do that. How does this latest caution from the minister come to you?
Well, I think he's delayed in communicating that to them, because if you are being issued with an appointment letter for a posting to a specific location, and you do not want the appointment, you just have to deny it. And if you remain and do not go to the post, obviously what it means is that you have not accepted the appointment. And so the employer cannot use taxpayers' money to be paying you. I think that's what is now attempting to do. But it's giving them sufficient opportunity to decide whether to go or not to go.
I see. But the question will be, why will somebody be on the payroll when they haven't even gone to their post yet? And then they are receiving salary. Is this a sign of something being wrong with the way we employ in our health sector?
Well, it's normal for an employer who only has the right to employ to issue you an appointment letter, and you are supposed to also give an indication of acceptance of that appointment letter to a specific location. On arrival there, obviously, either the head of that region or department or wherever the case may be will have to give an indication that you've safely arrived at post so that they can authenticate your appointment letter. It does appear we have loosely been doing this over the years, and this is what has resulted in people taking advantage of the weakness of the situation and exploit it. So it's unfortunate, but it's not supposed to be so. And I do not know to what extent the supervisory aspect of watching who is reporting for work on daily basis is all about. So it's, like I said, it's most unfortunate, but he has to take immediate steps. I mean, waiting till ending of the month is rather too long, and I don't know the reason why he has to keep waiting.
The counter-argument from the health workers will be that, look, we don't have the necessary tools, the necessities, like accommodation in some of these areas. Is that enough justification for them to decline these postings?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not too sure whether even those in Accra or wherever, whether the employer would have to provide accommodation necessarily for all of them. If there's a duty post house for doctors for proximity and for emergency reasons, it's good enough. But if it's not, I do not think it's all doctors in this country that have been provided with accommodation. Equally, nurses and other allied health workers. So I think we are begging the issues and bending backwards too much. If there is opportunity for them to have accommodation, I think it's the most appropriate thing to do. But if there is none, there are people in those rural areas whose contribution contributed to making you who you are. And therefore, you cannot deliberately ignore them that way. And have they lodged complaint that they are unable to accept the posting because of A, B, C, D? That would have been legitimate. So I don't think it's fair. I'm an employer myself. I have workers who have lived somewhere else. They've all moved closer to where we are because it is a bit disturbing sometimes. Simple transportation to get to the workplace may be difficult. That's why the nearness will be fine. Every village, including my village, there is opportunity for doctors and nurses when they get there to be accommodated. I recall some of them were accommodated in our family home. So clearly, there's always opportunity in all rural areas in Ghana here, where all of us somehow came from. So I think that this would be a far-fetched excuse.
And Mr. Game, you ask a very important question as to whether or not those complaints have been lodged. The doctors will have to tell us that. I can tell you and our viewers that we have tried to reach the doctor arm of this country. They have declined to comment at this time. Remember, again, I've told you that this is not the first time the doctors will be hearing about this announcement from the health minister or the ministry. It's already been in circulation as far as the health sector is concerned. The minister is only now letting the public know. But Mr. Game, beyond accommodation, shouldn't there be incentives to motivate these doctors to go to these rural and remote areas?
There's always something like that in almost all conditions of service of most health workers, particularly the case of doctors who are sent to such rural areas. The point, however, to be made forcefully is that this point coming from the health minister gives an indication that they have not even accepted the posting and to report to base for them not to be assisted in any way possible. That's why he said, if you've not reported by ending of this month, I'm taking you off the payroll. I think that's just about it. And should they go and have a legitimate complaint, the doctors have a very buoyant labor union leaders that can go and speak for them. And they always do. So I think it is not for them as individuals to deny and either being paid or are yet to be paid. Whichever way it is, we are not too clear about the statement. So I think that it's only fair that they either accept or decline it.
But, I mean, think about it. Should this be the camel that broke the back and changed how the government employed into the health sector?
Generally, from where I sit and having in mind my previous working relationship with that ministry from Ministry of Employment, clearly when you are offered an appointment, you have a number of days to report to station. And if you do not report, obviously the regional head there and the HR will have to send a signal that you have not reported. I think that might have resulted in the minister becoming aware that there is some level of vacancy in those various places, because they might have sent them there, but they have denied the opportunity. But it's not a general rule whereby people are given such letters and they refused. Look, my dear sister, I mean, we have other doctors from other nations that have accepted to go to our rural areas to assist us. And we have not contributed a farthing to their training and development in those countries. And so it is only fair that we all respond positively to efforts being put in by the stakeholders of this country in paying taxes and contributing to the development of our knowledge base to be who we are. So it's only proper that we go and serve them as well. But there is not meant that the doctors and whoever in that kind of situation should become a slave to the system. No, far from that. I know, as you know, teachers accept such postings to most delicate, very vulnerable areas and go there. And so all of us will have to find a way until we are able to develop the nation, to that extent that will be like Accra and Kumasi for everybody. I think that we should sacrifice a little bit.
But I see, Mr. Game, as you have identified, there is a weakness which you are, again, people suspect are being taken advantage of in terms of from the employee perspective, right? And so should we now then change the way government employs into the public sector in the sense that you don't just get passed on, approved, and then whether or not you go to work, you get your money?
I do not think there is any special way than declaring a vacancy and making an offer. I think if we would, in future, implement a proper information system across the country where vacancies in the districts, in various rural areas, will be published by the various districts online. And when I mean online, there is under Section 6 of the Labour Act currently, we are supposed to develop a system that would enable us report vacancies, both private, public, every quarter online. And if that were to be in place, you have to decide where you want to go. And this business of unemployment would have been eased, because I can guarantee you there are many other such opportunities, especially now, that if we do that reporting as we envisaged under the law, this will not be the case. That doctor, that nurse, that teacher would have offered to apply to that particular segment of the rural area and would go there happily because they would have assist him or her to find accommodation and have school for his kids and so forth and so on.
I see. I do want us to look at the comment itself that the health minister passed. There are those who think that it was a bit harsh. There are those who fear that, look, if the doctors quit the public sector, we may, as a people, be on the losing end, right? So my question to you now is there anything wrong with the approach the health minister has taken?
I do not think those who are saying that, they are saying it from an emotional point of view. The point is, if I offer you an appointment and you don't take it, you don't take it. So whether they've accepted to go or not, it appears we don't have them. So there's nothing special about it. I have a very strong respect for them. I have contributed in so many ways in helping my friends in that fraternity. They know it, and so I have that deep-seated respect for them. But we can't beg the issues beyond what we could do. If you will not accept, you don't accept. What else can the minister do? To call a press conference and to beg them and appeal to them? I think they have a very strong union, and they do know very well that that is unacceptable. It's against our labor law for you to accept to go somewhere and do not report. I'm not too sure whether they are being paid and they have accepted the money, and that's why the minister is saying that I will stop it, and so forth and so on. Whichever way it is, I think the proper way to go in the future is what I just said earlier. We envisaged that and created a space in the labor law, section 6, to be ventilated on, and when it is implemented, is a very special, that's the way they employ people in all civilized societies across the world. I can tell you in America, the same principle. In Japan, the same principle. And we engage them sufficiently before crafting the law to respond to that, because we know a day will come like this. So there must be a way out, and we have created that way in our labor law, but we need a leadership to implement it. It's not yet in place.
Mr. Game, we'll leave our conversation here. Thank you so much for your insight on the subject matter. Austin Game is CEO of Game & Game ADR and labor consultancy firm. He's also a former deputy labor minister and two-time MP of North Togo. Speaking of North Togo, up next, the foreign affairs minister who doubles as the current MP for the area, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, is in Burkina Faso, and we know why. Now, Ghana's foreign minister, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, has visited or is in Burkina Faso in the aftermath of the terror attacks, which claimed at least half a dozen Ghanaian traders on Valentine's Day. Addressing the media after the meeting with his counterpart, the minister outlined a number of agreements signed by both countries to facilitate safe and secure trade routes for citizens of both countries. We'll hear him now.
President Captain Ibrahim Traore met in January and in March of 2025 and tasked us as foreign ministers to reactivate our bilateral cooperation. And I am delighted to report today that we have not only complied with the directives from our two presidents, but we have made a lot of progress. Today, our deliberations have culminated in the signing of very important agreements. And I will list the agreements for you to respectfully convey to our people, the masses of Burkina Faso and Ghana. We have signed an agreement on mutual recognition of national driver's licenses. And you know this is very important for our trade corridor from Tema to Ouagadougou. It's a very important trade corridor, and our drivers have been complaining for years about the lack of harmonization. This agreement is going to resolve that, and it will boost intra-African trade, because as you know, we do not trade very well amongst ourselves as Africans. According to UNCTAD, intra-African trade is less than 20%. That is why Ghana hosts the Secretariat of the Africa Continental Free Trade Secretariat, and we want to lead by example with this agreement, we are demonstrating that we have what it takes as Africans to remove the bottlenecks and the impediments in our way towards free movement, free trade, and enhance economic cooperation. We have also signed an agreement on transport and road transit. This is also a very significant agreement. Thirdly, we have signed a framework agreement on cross-border cooperation. We have also signed a memorandum of understanding on the establishment of periodic consultation frameworks between the border administrative authorities. We want to enhance our border collaboration so that we can enhance security and we can also facilitate the movement of our people. We've also signed a memorandum of understanding regarding the creation of a joint commission to reaffirm the border between our two countries. We've signed a cooperation agreement on the prevention and management of disasters and humanitarian crises. This is another very important agreement. You know that we have had the perennial challenge, particularly when the Bagre Dam is opened and we are not coordinating properly and we do not put in emergency preparedness. It leads to the destruction of farms, of properties. Sometimes the lives are lost. So we need to work together to have a harmonized disaster management protocol between our two countries. And this is one area that our people are going to really benefit in terms of emergency preparedness and our responsive approach when disasters occur. Finally, we also have signed an agreement in the field of fighting illicit cultivation, production, manufacturing, and trafficking of narcotic drugs, psychotropic substances, and related matters. You know that this is one area affecting the two countries, particularly our young people who have become very susceptible to these drugs and psychotropic substances. Some call it red and other local names. It's destroying the youth, destroying them of their future, their potential. And we are saying today that Ghana and Burkina Faso will not be a dumping ground. We will not sit by as leaders for our young people to be destroyed because of illicit drugs. And we are going to enhance our cooperation to declare our countries a no-drug zone. And I must say that this has been a very, very substantive, meaningful, and impactful PJCC. We can report to our presidents, President Mahama and President Traore, that the assignment they gave us, we have delivered.
Samuel Akujeto Ablakwa is Foreign Affairs Minister for Ghana. He's just been outlining some steps that both countries, both Ghana and Burkina Faso, have decided to take as far as cross-border activities are concerned. And you know, in the coming days, there will be discussions around this because remember, again, those cross-border measures will exist in one form or the other, despite Burkina Faso no longer being part of ECOWAS. The country-to-country relations should continue to exist, and so I expect that that already happens. But if you ask any international relations expert or somebody with knowledge in international relations, what is being mentioned may be superficial, which is why in the coming days there should be more conversations on the back of this. Tonight we won't be having those conversations, but there should be conversations about dealing with the, the core of the problem, what is happening to the Accra Initiative, questions that need to be asked, answers that are demanded. Why is it that countries like Ghana and the likes who are, less influenced or affected by the terror activities in the northern part, or like we see in Burkina Faso, Mali, and the likes, are not full throat in this Accra Initiative? How do we get the countries to do what they are supposed to do, even with the different fronts, the Savannah, the Sahelian Alliance on one hand, and then the ECOWAS on the other as well. So this is a really important conversation that the country should have. And the minorities' rights, really. where is the defense minister in the mix of all this? Because while the foreign affairs minister is going, it should go alongside the defense minister because, you know, at the end of the day, it will fall squarely on defense, on the army. How are we protecting the borders? How are we communicating with Burkina Faso's army, so to speak, to ensure that indeed all those cross-border measures that he's outlined are implemented well? Questions and conversations that will happen not tonight, but on the way tonight. We'll tell you why Ghana and Togo are at loggerheads. I'll see you on the other side of this break.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo Paint?
And Togo may be headed into some kind of an international dispute. Now, the government of Ghana has told its Togolese counterpart it will seek international arbitration over the maritime boundary between the two countries. Over the last 8 years, the two nations have discussed but failed to reach an amicable and mutually beneficial outcome. Ghana says its latest move is to avoid an escalation of incidents and deepening of tensions between some of the institutions of the two countries, right? Now, the maritime boundary in question lies in the Gulf of Guinea. Now, hold on, I'll show you. I've had a crash course on this. An area of major strategic and economic importance, they say, due to offshore oil and gas exploration activities. Now, a clearly defined boundary does not exist at this time, but is also considered critical for safeguarding Ghana's energy interests, maintaining investor confidence, and preventing potential tensions between the two West African nations. Now, government has, however, emphasized in their latest statement that the decision to proceed to arbitration does not undermine the long-standing cordial relations between Ghana and Togo. Remember, the Togolese leader has been to the country a few times, showing a lot of cordiality with our own president, John Dramani Mahama. Now, before I show you what I have learned about the situation and which area is under dispute or in contention at this time, I'm going to bring in Major General Anthony Intem, who is Commissioner General of the Ghana Boundaries Commission. Major General, I appreciate your time tonight. Who best to talk to than you? Help us understand what is in contention here.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the question. I think like I said earlier, over 5 decades, Ghana and Togo have have respected a common maritime boundary. And we have operated in peace for that those days. Until 2016, that was in December 2016, Ghanaian vessels carry out seismic activities within our territorial area along that common maritime boundary were intercepted by the Togolese Navy. They claim that area belongs to them. So in 2018, the then president detailed or sent a high-level delegation led by the senior minister then, that's Safo Mafo, to lead a delegation to Togo to carry out the negotiations between Ghana and Togo. I think they formed 2 things, and then the aim of the negotiation was, the delegation was to come out with a delimited maritime boundary between the 2 countries. The 2 teams were formed, the negotiation teams were formed, and there had been as many as 11 negotiations or meetings, and it was inconclusive. It came to a stalemate somewhere in 2022, and that since been there. So that is the background to this. I'll call it. Let me call it dispute.
Right. So then, is this dispute over the potential of oil offshore?
To a very large extent, let's say that, one, let's have a clear, if you have a clear maritime boundary, whatever resources are within your territory belongs to you. So where the maritime boundary, the maritime boundary that we have respected over the period, and Togo now is claiming try to see that, claim that area. That is what actually is a dispute. Yes, there are resources there, oil blocks are there, and also fishing activities cannot take place peacefully if this maritime boundary is not well delimited or demarcated.
Mm-hmm. And how long do you say this dispute has existed?
This very one existed since 2018. That's when the negotiations started. So let's say the past 8 years.
I see. So have either country started any kind of exploratory works in the area under dispute?
No, not. They've not started any exploration work. I mean, we send out vessels to carry out seismic activities, which will lead to the oil exploration itself, which was stopped by the Togolese Navy in 2016, as I indicated. And Togo has also not actually started any exploration in that area. Rather, what we see them doing now is that they are expanding their anchorage into our territorial waters.
And what does it mean to expand anchorage?
It means that where the ships dock.
I see. So
where the ships dock at the harbor, the Lomé port.
I see. And Togolese authorities are doing that despite the discussions and the agreement had with their Ghanaian counterparts?
Yes, in the area under dispute.
That sounds like bad faith, is it not?
Sure, it sounds like, I mean, that is acting in bad faith. And when the negotiations stalled, it was agreed that the two countries should not carry out any activity there until a solution is found to the problem. However, we have realized that Togo is carrying out some activities there which are, I mean, they're acting in bad faith, which we think that should not continue.
I see. Which means that Ghana would not have resorted to international arbitration if Togo had not breached the discussions or agreements it had with Ghana, correct?
This is correct. If they have agreed on what, in fact, during the negotiations, the two teams agreed to carry out a delimitation of the boundary line. However, what we came out with, which is the standard acceptable, boundary delimitation, maritime boundary delimitation, Togo does not, did not agree to that. However, they were, during the negotiations, they were inconsistent in whatever they bring to the table. That is, they came out with 3 proposed maritime boundaries at 3 different occasions, which does not actually conform to any acceptable standard internationally.
Interesting. So what's next now? Especially, with, Ghana has decided to seek international intervention. What happens next?
I think what's going to happen now is, I believe that for diplomacy's sake, they might extend, can I say that? Let me leave it to the governments of the two countries to finally decide. They might ask for us to come back and start the negotiations again, or say that, we could go ahead with the arbitration process.
In your professional opinion, as the Commissioner General for Ghana Boundaries Commission, which works best in the interest of this country?
Negotiations would have been okay to find an amicable solution to it. However, if they are still, can I use the word adamant, want to stick to whatever their demands are. In fact, they came out with 3 demands actually. That one, they want that area so that they can expand their anchorage. 2, there are some air blocks there that they also want to lay claim to. And 3, they want access to the high seas. In fact, the 3 demands that they made to Ghana, during the negotiations, we agreed to give them, to make some concession. If we want to go with the strict equidistance, which is the equidistance line, which is the method used in delimiting maritime boundary, Togo would have been cut off from the high seas at 80 nautical miles. However, we made a concession and modified that. That will give them access to the high seas up to 200 nautical miles. That's into the EEZ. However, they did not agree to whatever concession we gave them. So, in my candid opinion, I think this is the best way.
I see. Major General, we'll end it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Major General Anthony Intem is Commissioner General for Ghana Boundaries Commission. I did say that I wanted to show you the area in contention, but I'm out of time, so I will do it real quick. It means that I cannot relay to you the crash course that I have had. But a few things to keep in mind while my producers get ready to put it on the screen. Our borders are not a straight line. Understand that to start with, right? They are not a straight line. And if we would want to look at our maritime boundaries based on our coastlines, that is where perhaps all of the confusion between who owns this part of the coast, the marine asset, right, and who doesn't. But you see on your screen there are 4 black lines. 3 of them are broken, and then there's 1 solid line. It is around that black solid line all the way into the Gulf of Guinea that the area of contention is under. And you can tell why. Remember I told you from the beginning that our land borders are not a straight line, which means that when you get to the coastline tracing from the land border, you won't get a straight line either. And then between Ghana and Togo, sharing a lot of communities, the moment you get to Southern Volta, Ghana spreads a little into Togo. That place is not Togo. Our Plao border, places like Penyi, places like Denu, places like Hajiranawo, Adafianu, all those places are in Ghana. But if you just want to look at it, it would look as though they are on the coastline of Togo. But again, we are tracking the border lines on land to be able to determine that, which is why you see that solid black line spread a little bit into what may appear to be Togo's coastline or marine asset. And that is where the confusion is. I hope that I haven't gone into any depth. I'm being told to wrap up, but I hope you get an understanding of where this is. This is headed. Why this dispute exists. But that's just about it. We'll hear more about this in future broadcasts. But now you know where the contention is in the Gulf of Guinea. There is some things going there. But listen, it's not only about oil, right? It's also about the fisher folk on the coastline. Because what I've heard is the fact that fisher folk around that area cannot even go and fish in the marine asset because Togolese authorities keep sending them away, claiming that area is for them, which is why our Ghanaian authorities have decided to seek international arbitration. I've got to go. If you hear that, it means I can't bring you Epstein files this week as well, but I had something on a gold firm that had appeared in there. Some names have started to pop up as well as far as my research is concerned. We'll do that next week here on Ghana Tonight, but that'll be all this week on this program. Tomorrow morning, Alfred Okanse will be here with his panelists to discuss the week's biggest stories. On Sunday, I sat down with Ranking on Economy and Development Committee of Parliament of Wasia Yorebi MP Kojo Oponkroma. We discuss the cocoa crisis, 24-hour economy, the economy in general, the NPP and Parliament. Make a date with me Sunday, 1 p.m. on Hot Issues. I really have to go, and I appreciate your time with me. Good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint.